Hey, Rev students, it is so great to be talking to you today, to be spending some time with you virtually on Rev Students Online. And I love being up here, being able to speak what God is teaching through me, what he's teaching to me. And man, I just love what God has for us today. And so I want to just start out just for a little bit and tell you a little bit about myself, just some things I want to share with you about me that you might not know. And one of those things is how much I absolutely love movies and TV. Like, I love movies and TV. I love getting caught up in great stories. I love movies with sequels. I love the more seasons an episode a show has, the more that I love it. I love getting caught up in great stories. And one of my favorite part of movies and TVs is this thing called a plot twist. And I'm not sure if you know what that is. A plot twist is something that's supposed to surprise you. It's something that's supposed to shock you, catch you off guard. And I actually love trying to see these before they happen. It's kind of like my claim to fame. I'm really good at seeing things before they happen. I remember going to a movie with my wife, and we're sitting there in the middle of the movie watching it, and I see something, and I'm like, I wonder if that's gonna happen. I lean over to her, and I'm like, hey, I think this is gonna happen later. And she looks at me dead in the eye and says, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. And I'm like, you're probably right. That's probably never gonna happen. And it did. It totally happened. And she looks at me at the end of that movie and she says, you looked it up. I said, there is no way. It was a Nicholas Sparks movie. There is no way I spent any amount of time looking up the plot line of that movie. And so I wanted, this is recorded live. I was right. Vindication. You know, it was my shining moment. I was right. But I love plot twist. Probably one of my favorite plot twists in any movie ever. You probably can recognize it. There is a young man, our protagonist, our hero of the story. There's this major war going on, and he finds out that his friends are in trouble, so he runs off to go help them. And in the midst of doing that, he encounters our villain, our antagonist of the story. And our villain shows up, and they already have some bad blood, right? They already have some bad blood because our bad guy has actually killed people that he cares about, his mentor, and man, they just don't like each other. And it's been setting this up the whole movie, how bad this guy was. He's just like the biggest bad guy. Every scene is just how bad this guy is. And it gets into this epic fight. And at the end of it, our good guy is actually losing, not how you want your movies to end. And he's actually like on the verge of dying. And our bad guy pauses for a second. And he reaches out a hand and says, instead of dying, why don't you join me? And maybe it's starting to ring some bells. And our hero says, I will never join you because you killed my father. And our bad guy comes in. There's just almost like this audible pause. He says, no. I am your father. Man, and for me, like, that is one of the biggest plot twists ever. No one saw that coming. Like, we grew up in the Star Wars generation. We've heard that since we were at a young age. You know, Luke, I am your father. It's just something that we know. But man, I wish so much I could go back and rewatch it with fresh eyes and not know what was going to happen and be able to relive that major plot twist. I'm so like passionate about this that like when I've watched it enough times and like I can't enjoy it anymore, I now invite like friends and family to come watch this movie so I can watch their reaction and vicariously like live through them. I'm not weird. That's a completely normal thing to do. But I love plot twist. It's something that's supposed to catch you off guard. But here's the thing, plot twist in movies and plot twists in real life are completely different. Like, it's enjoyable to watch it on a screen or in a TV show and get caught up in the drama. But when it's something that's happening to you, it's completely different. And you might not have some like evil space father trying to kill you, but we all have plot twists in our lives. We all have situations that come up and catch us off guard. We all have situations that come up and shock us. Maybe for you, it was news that your parents were getting divorced. And it caught you completely off God. Maybe for you it was a relationship that you were so invested in and now it's come to an end and you just don't even know what to do, where it went wrong, what happened. And the plot twist showed up and shocked you, caught you off guard. Maybe it's someone that you love and care about and they've gotten sick and you don't know what's going to happen next. And you weren't ready for it. Maybe for you, it's that you're stuck in the midst of a quarantine and all of your plans and all of your expectations are just thrown out the window, plans to graduate, plans to go on vacation. You have been caught off guard. And when this happens, when we get caught up in these plot twists, here are some questions we begin to ask. Man, where is God in this? Where is God in this situation? Where is God in my circumstances? And then even more, why is this happening to me? Why do I deserve this? Man, what am I supposed to do? Like all this stuff's going on around me. What am I supposed to do about it? And that is why we wanted to do this series, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. Because here's what I believe, that if we look at the life of Joseph, and we put ourselves in his shoes and how he navigated the plot twists of his life, that we can learn how to navigate through the plot twists of our own. And if you don't remember our guy Joseph, Derek actually introduced him to us 2 weeks ago. And he was the favorite of his family. He was, a really big deal. All of his family loved him except for his brothers. God was giving him all of these dreams. He was highly favored. But his brothers were like, hey, I'm a little bit tired of this Joseph guy. I'm a little bit tired of how great he is. I'm a little bit tired of how he's the favorite. I'm a little bit tired of all of his dreams. And that's where we're going to pick up the story today in Genesis 37, verse 18. It says, they saw him from afar, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. They said to one another, here comes this dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. And then we will say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what has become of his dreams. I'm not sure if you caught what's going on here, but these guys are not big fans of Joseph. Right? They actually are plotting to kill him in this moment, but he actually has one of his brothers, Reuben, the voice of reason in this situation is like, hey guys, hey fam, you guys are being a little bit crazy. There's some crazy talk going on about killing Joseph. We can't, really do that. What if we just, threw him in the pit and just left him there? And it's like, hey, thank you, Reuben. Like that was really thoughtful of you. And the story actually says that they threw him in the pit and then they sat down and had a meal. And crazy, right? I'm sure some of you are actually thinking right now, you're like, actually, I've been stuck with my brothers and sisters for the last month, and these guys might be onto something. Don't do that. But our story continues in Genesis 37, verse 26. It says, and then Judah said to his brothers, what profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. And let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh. And his brothers listened to him. Do you hear that, guys? They're like, hey, Judah's coming in, at the end to rescue him. He's saying, hey, guys, we can't kill him, right? He's our brother. Like we can't, I know you want to, but you can't actually kill him. And the main reason is because it's not going to benefit us all, but if we sold him into slavery, we would actually make money off it. I feel like it's one of those prank videos, right? Like, you have your phone and it's like, hey, it's me, Judah here, my 10 brothers. And, we're going to do our prank video today is selling your brother into slavery. And he doesn't know what's coming. And so Joseph doesn't even know what we're going to do is we're going to throw him in this pit. And then these slavers are going to come and we're going to sell him into slavery. We're actually going to get an animal and rip up all his clothes and take it back and tell everyone he's dead. Right? Have you guys tried that prank video yet? Have you seen that one online? Probably not, because it wasn't a prank video. It was real life for Joseph. His brothers really did throw him in his pit. They really did sell him into slavery. They really did tell his family that he was dead, that an animal had killed him. And you're sitting there and you're being like, man, what did Joseph do wrong to deserve all of this? Like, what went wrong in his life? Who did he wrong to make this happen? And even more so, man, what do you do when you just don't know what to do? If you put yourself in Joseph's shoes in this moment, riding in a slave cart, what do you do? Where is God? Why do I deserve this? And what we learn is that when you encounter a plot twist, when you get caught off guard, God isn't. When you get caught off guard, God is not caught off guard. He is still in control. He is still reigning on the throne. His position and power has not changed. His position and power has not changed. But we're looking at this and we're like, man, how could a good God let this happen to Joseph? And really, if we're thinking about it, a better question is, man, how could a good God let whatever situation we're dealing with right now happen to us? Man, as we dive into Joseph's story, Joseph's sitting there in a slave cart, riding off to his new future. And he's probably thinking, man, yesterday I was a son, and today I'm a slave. Yesterday I was surrounded by family and friends, and today I am all alone. Yesterday I had a powerful family, and today I feel like a powerless person. Yesterday I knew where my value was, but today I feel like a nobody. So yesterday I had plans and hopes for my future, but today I feel completely helpless. And this is the point in the story where God comes in and says, the Lord was with Joseph. In Genesis, it says, the Lord was with Joseph. Man, and I'm just thinking, man, the Lord is with Joseph. Man, if this is what it means for the Lord to be with me, I'm not sure I quite want that. Like, the Lord is with Joseph. I mean, Joseph is sitting there in slavery. His brothers are living it up, having a party, enjoying all of the rights of being a son of an influential family. And Joseph is living the life of a slave. And here's what I want you to know, students. Man, you are going to face situations that you just don't know what to do. You're going to face situations that catch you off guard. And there's not going to seem like there's a right answer. It's going to feel like you are completely powerless, completely helpless. And when you feel like there's nothing you can do, I want you to know God is with you. When there's nothing you can do, God is with you. He has not left you all alone, even in the midst of whatever situation you are in at this very moment. God is with you. I mean, and that was true for Joseph, and it's true for us as well. And that truth didn't change Joseph's situation. It didn't change that he was riding in a cart on his way to slavery. It didn't change his relationship with his family at that moment. But what it did do is let him know that he did not go through it alone, because God was with him. He didn't have to figure it out all alone. Man, and it would be so great to just end this story right here and be like, hey, you know what? God is with you. Man, all your situations are going to get better. All of your problems are solved. God is with you. But that's not what happened with Joseph. Our story continues in Genesis 39, verse 2. It says, the Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man. He was in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended to him, and he made him the overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. And from the time that he made him overseer in the house, over all that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. The blessing of the Lord was on all that he had, his house and his field. Listen, students, years go by for Joseph. Years go by for Joseph in slavery, and he is not sitting there complaining. He's not sitting there crying out, man, why is this happening to me? Joseph, man, he just starts working hard. He actually works so hard that God begins to bless Potiphar, his master. And if I was putting myself in Joseph's shoes, I'd be like, Hey, God, aren't I the one that's working for you? Hey, God, am I not the one that's being obedient right now? Maybe you could give me a little bit of that blessing. Maybe you could give me a little bit of that. I mean, if you are with me right now, I mean, like, my situation can't get any worse, can it? Story continues in verse 6. It says, now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance, and after a time, his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph and said, lie with me. Man, can this guy not catch a break? Right? Joseph is just sitting there doing his thing. And Potiphar's wife comes up to him. And you got to understand, like, there's a lot of social politics going on here. Like, Joseph can't really say no because he serves Potiphar's house. And that means he also serves Potiphar's wife. And so he is in the midst of a situation where if he refuses her and says no, he could be punished, imprisoned, even killed. But if he says yes, not only is he compromising what he knows is right, Potiphar could find out and get mad, and he could still be imprisoned, punished, and killed. It's what we call a lose-lose situation. And even though God was with Joseph, Joseph still found himself in this situation. And I don't know what situation you're going through right now. Man, maybe you have a group of friends and man, they're doing something that you probably know you don't need to be a part of. And you're weighing the options right now. If I say no to them, man, maybe they'll treat me differently. Maybe they won't like me anymore. Maybe they won't even be my friends. But if I say yes, I'm now compromising what I know I should be doing in this situation. And I could be punished. I could get in trouble. Man, what do you do? Maybe you're in a relationship and the things that you're talking about and the things that you're doing are things that you know are questionable, that you probably shouldn't be doing. And you're weighing the options. Man, on this side, if I do this, I'm compromising what I know is right in this situation. But if I don't, I might hurt this person. They might break up with me. This relationship might be over. Man, what am I supposed to do? And it seems like there's sometimes you get in a situation and it seems like there are no good solutions. It seems like you get into a situation and sometimes knowing the right thing to do isn't so simple. Sometimes what feels right is complicated. Sometimes what is right might even cost you something. But here's the thing I want you to know, students. When you don't know what to do, remember that God cares more about changing your character than he does your circumstances. God cares more about changing your character than he does your circumstances. And I know if it was me, if I was Joseph in that situation, I would just be like, hey, God, can you just get me out of it? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Man, what do you do? God cares about your situation. I don't want you to hear me wrong. He cares about what's going on in your life. But he cares more about the person that you become. He cares about who you're going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and the things that he wants to do to you. There's a word we use for that. It's called integrity. It means wholeness, completeness, that there's no gaps, there are no breaches. Meaning you look at Joseph's life, and that is Joseph to the key. But you look at other people's life, and it's almost like a parallel. You look at like David. David had everything going for him. David was, the guy, man after God's own heart. But David began to do things that he knew was not right. He found himself in a careless situation, and when he weighed the choices, he chose to compromise, and he dealt with consequences for the rest of his life. And some of them weren't immediate, but he ended up, dealing with that for the rest of his life. And what he writes later on in Psalm 51, he says, you delight in truth in the inward places. He says, you want my inside to be like my outside. You want me to live with integrity. And that's what we see in Joseph. Man, integrity is what you do when no one is looking. And I want you to see how that works out for Joseph. It says, but he refused and said to his master's wife, behold, because of me, my master has no concern about anything in the house, and he has put everything that he has in my charge. He is not greater in this house than I am, nor has he kept anything from me except for you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And she spoke to Joseph day after day, and he would not listen to her, to lie beside her, or to be with her. This woman was willing to do anything to get Joseph to compromise, right? She was willing to do anything. She's like, hey, Joseph, you don't have to do anything wrong. Just come here and talk to me for a little bit. Hey, Joseph, you don't have to do anything wrong. Just come sit beside me for a little bit. And Joseph, our man of integrity, our man of character, even at the cost of his job, even at the cost of his status, even at the cost of his life, chose to do the right thing. And listen, sometimes the right thing is going to give you applause and everyone's going to cheer you on. And sometimes it's not. And sometimes doing the right thing is going to cost you. And other times it doesn't. Sometimes doing the right thing is going to make you look like the hero. And then there's other times where the people around you are going to think you look stupid for doing the thing that you did. But here's what I want you to know. When you don't know what to do, just do the next right thing. When you're in a situation and you don't know what to do the next right thing. When you're facing compromise, when you are facing the lose-lose situation, and you don't see a better way out, you don't see the best solution that's gonna solve all of your problems, you don't have a get out of jail free card, and you have to make a decision. Be like Joseph and do the next right thing. And here's the reality. We don't know how it's going to end. We don't always get to decide how things turn out, but we do get to decide who we are in those moments. If we're making the right kind of decisions, we can be proud of our lives, regardless of any consequences that we faced. And listen, if we were being honest in this room right now, isn't it hard to be faithful to God sometimes when it doesn't feel like he's being faithful to us? Like, isn't it really hard to be like, God, I'm going to obey you. I'm going to do the next right thing. I'm going to follow you. And everything in your life seems to say that he's not there for you when you needed him. And maybe you're sitting there in whatever chair you're in right now, on your couch, on your floor, and I'm up here on a stage saying God is with you, but you don't feel like that's a reality for you. You can't see the evidence of it in your life, and you keep doing the right thing, and it's not changing anything in your situation. I mean, if God is with me, and I'm doing the right thing, shouldn't my situation, get better? It didn't for Joseph. It says, but one day, when he went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was there in the house, she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. But he left his garment in her hand and fled and got out of the house. And as soon as she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled out of the house, she called to the men of her household and said to them, see, he has brought among us a Hebrew to laugh at us. He came in to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And as soon as he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried out, he left his garment beside me and fled and got out of the house. And as soon as his master heard the words that his wife spoke to him, this is the way your servant treated me, his anger was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. And he was there in prison, but the Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love. Listen, students, at this point, if I was Joseph, man, I would be like, God, maybe you can go be with someone else for a while, right? Like, this is not going too great for me. Actually, I have a great idea. Go be with my brothers. Go be with them a lot, right? Man, I think I can figure this thing out myself a little bit better than how things have been going for me. And some of you are facing a decision right now. And just like Joseph, the best thing you can do is run and get away from whatever situation's right in front of you that you don't think you can make the right decision in. You don't see a good alternative and you just need to run. You need to get away. You need to get out of that group. You need to get out of that situation. You need to get out of that room. Whatever it is for you, man, you just need to run. And we have Joseph. Joseph is our guy, the favorite of his family, until his brothers sell him into slavery. But remember, God's with him. And he actually was doing really well for a while. He worked himself up to be the head slave, until he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. But remember, guys, God is with him. Maybe that's where you feel today. Maybe you kind of have a hesitant, half-hearted fist pump saying, God is with me because of whatever situation you're facing right now. Maybe for you, you're saying, man, I don't know if my parents are getting back together, but God is with me. Man, I don't know if my relationship is going to resolve itself, if we're gonna end up back together, but you know what? God is with me. Man, I don't know when this quarantine is going to end, and I'm pretty sure that idea to sell my brother into slavery was a really good idea. But you know what? God is with me. And maybe that doesn't mean a whole lot for you right now. You don't see it, you don't feel it, but it meant something for Joseph. And I love what happens next. It says in Genesis 39:23, it says, the keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was in Joseph's charge because the Lord was with him in whatever he did. The Lord made it succeed. You see, what you need to realize, students, is that Joseph had an unshakable confidence that not only was God with him, but God was also for him. No matter what situation he was facing, no matter what plot twist happened to him, God's with me and he is for me. And listen, we're gonna find out that God has great plans for Joseph. Great plans, things that Joseph can't even imagine. But before God could do that stuff through Joseph, he had to do some things in Joseph. Man, and I don't know if your situation's getting any better, but God is with you. And I don't know if your relationship's gonna make it, and I don't know if your parents are gonna reconcile their differences, but can I tell you something? God is for you. I mean, and I don't know when this quarantine is going to end. I don't know when lives are gonna get back to normal, but man, I have an unshakable confidence that God is going to use whatever situation you're going through, and he's going to use it and use you for his glory. But before God can use it, you might have to go through it. Before God can use whatever you're facing, you have to go through it. And he hasn't left you alone. He is with you, he is for you, and your response right now in the midst of whatever situation you're facing might determine whether God is going to do what he's going to do through you. And you don't know what it is. Joseph didn't either, but I promise you, you do not want to miss out of it. God's actually gonna restore all that Joseph lost. He's gonna surpass his plans and his dreams and anything that Joseph had. But Joseph didn't know that when he was riding in the cart on his way to be a slave. He didn't know that when he was sitting in a prison cell. He definitely didn't feel it. But he knew one simple truth: that God is with me and God is for me, and that changed everything. Pray with me real quick. God, we come to you today, Lord, and we are so thankful that we get to hear your truth spoken, and we get to look at the life of Joseph. And God, you might teach us how we respond in certain situations, that you might teach us what it looks like to do the next right thing, and that we might rest in the truth that you are with us and you are for us. And maybe for you today, that's not a reality for you. You've never experienced that before. You're saying, man, my situation, God can't be with me. God can't be for me. Man, can I tell you something, Joseph? It wouldn't have seemed like that for Joseph either, but God had something better for him. And I believe he has something better for you. And maybe for the first time, man, you want to rest in that truth that not only is God with you through any plot twist, through any circumstance you might face, but he is for your good. He has plans to prosper you, to give you a hope and a future that's better than anything that you can dream. And it might not look like it at times, but we don't know the end of the story. And maybe for you, this is the first time you've ever thought like that. Man, something's new inside of you. You've never felt God with you before, but something is stirring in you even as I speak. Man, can you just pray with me real quick? You don't have to say anything special. The words I'm about to say is not some magical formula, but it is powerful because of who we're praying to. And we're simply praying, God, help me. Man, what I'm facing seems bigger than anything I can manage. I need someone who's bigger than me, who's more powerful than I am, to move into my situation and be with me and be for me. And if that is true about you, I want that more than anything. Man, if you prayed that today, man, please let us know either on our website or let your small group leader know, because we want to walk with you. You don't have to do it alone, because not only is God with you, not only is God for you, but you have a family of people who love you, who are here for you as well. God, we love you and we trust you. Thank you for your son. Thank you for all that you've done for us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.